Dear students, today we'll be learning a new concept, collaborative learning. I think it is not at all a new term for you. I mean, the particular term, the terminology, it's not a new term, but in detail we will be dealing with what is this collaborative learning. Actually, collaborative learning is an instructional method that emphasizes students working together in small groups to complete a task or reach a common goal. This is a this is an explanation of what is meant by collaborative learning. See, three or four terms are there to be noticed. Words are there to be noticed. First is it is an instructional method. So it's a way of you might be familiar with so many instructional methods in your classroom as teachers or teacher educators or student teachers. So many you might have heard of so many different methods to be implemented in your classroom. So this is an instructional method. One among the instructional method, very useful instructional method. It's a method of instruction and it emphasizes students working together in small groups. So that is the importance. See, you might have learned or you might have probably familiar with a traditional classroom where the emphasis is upon the teacher and the students may be passive listeners or passive learners in the classroom, where in collaborative learning what happens is it emphasizes students working together. One more thing is that they work together in small groups. So there is an interaction among the students. There is a face-to-face interaction among the students. In traditional classroom that may not be possible. And but the main important thing is to complete a task or reach a common goal. So they may be doing a task, but the task may be divided among the students. Certain special divisions may be there in the task, and the students may be in their groups doing the different actions that to be completed in a task, and all these things leads to a common achievement of a common goal. That is very important. It leads to achievement of a common goal. So there is a purpose. There is a common purpose. There is a common objective. There is a predetermined objective for the completion of this particular task. And they are doing it. But it is a collaborative thing. They help each other. So it is an instructional method in which the students work together in groups. There is a teamwork. And again, the goal is the same. The class is divided into the community is divided into small groups, but their goal is the same. They are to achieve a same goal, and they do something in their groups. That is collaborative learning. And one more thing is students may be responsible for each other's learning. So this is very important. Accountability, responsibility. What happens here? They may be responsible for each other's learning, because I told you it is for achievement or obtaining a common goal. And for that, in that sense also, each one's work is responsible for common group's success or failure. So that is, they are very much independent. There is a positive independence. They are very much independent, and they help each other at the same time, independent, and at the same time they you know depend each other for their own success, the group success. And that is what is important. The students may be accountable. They may be responsible for each other's learning. And in traditional classroom, one particular student is responsible for his own learning or her own learning, right? So here what happens? They may be responsible for each other's learning, because there is a group work, it is a teamwork. So they may be responsible for that. Now, another point is it involves changing the classroom landscape by grouping students to have greater interaction. A method of teaching and learning in which students team together to explore a significant question or create a meaningful project. I told you once again, it involves changing the classroom landscape by grouping students to have greater interaction. So in traditional classroom, what happens? The students sit on benches. They may not be anything like questioning or answering by students themselves or interacting themselves, maybe laughing or something else. So what happens in a traditional classroom? They sit together they do not sit together in the sense that they do not interact each other, they do not talk, even each other except in during the interval time. So what happens here, the classroom landscape itself is being changed. There is a shift of change in the classroom setup. They sit together maybe in a circle, or on the floor, maybe they sit together, not like independent depends in the sense that selfish learners. They are very selfless here, and they sit together and they have greater interaction. When you sit together and look at each other, there may be interaction. That is quite natural. So this is also what's happening in a collaborative classroom. And again, collaborative learning, it is a method of teaching and learning in which the students team together to explore a significant question, or they create a meaningful project. So whatever it may be, sometimes they may be answering, sometimes they may be trying to answer a particular question raised by the teacher. So here they may be a problem solver, a finder of a solution to a problem. So that may be the role of the students, that may be the task assigned the students. And sometimes they may be doing a project, a simple project. So it is based on the assignment, it is based on the task, it depends on the task given to the students. It may differ from teacher to teacher, what else the teacher is going to give to the students. So whatever it may be, the students work together. That is very important. They explore together. They work as a team. So teamwork is very, very important. The teamwork itself, the particular word itself, is an indicative of its meaning, where the students, the individuals, are to work together. We are a team. So that kind of spirit, that kind of feeling itself is very great. We are a team. We can solve the problem. We can find the solution. We can, we can have a good result. So that is the positivity in that teamwork. So here also, for example, I'll give you an example. A group of students discussing a lecture. So that's a simple teamwork, because the teacher is, for example, I'll give you, the teacher has given a lecture on a particular topic, listening, skill of listening. For example, being an English teacher, I should use this topic. See, skill of listening. What is listening? The characteristics of listening, and how to be a good listener. Are you a good listener? And how can be a good listener in a classroom? What are the types of listening? What are the tips to be a good listener? See, different things. The teacher may be explaining, maybe giving an oral class to the students, and after that the teacher leaves the classroom. Now the students sit in their group and they discuss each other the topic. What is listening? What are the different types of listening? Am I a good listener? Are you a good listener? So what are the characteristics of a good listener? You just take the characteristics and you just identify whether you are a good listener or not. What are the skills should I improve? See, different. So there is a discussion on that, and they can test each other. Are you a good listener? Am I a good listener? They can test each other. So this is how the discussion progresses. So this is actually a teamwork, and this is an example of collaborative learning. And another example is the students from different institutions working together over the internet on a shared assignment. That is another good example. For example, different students from different schools. Say for example, four schools have been selected, and 4 classes have been selected from the different schools, and they communicate each other using, see, this is the example of using internet technology, or communication technology, or information technology by collaborating, using this collaborative learning method. See how to use information technology, ICT. How can we implement ICT in collaborative learning? See here the students, because they are not able to team together in a physically team together in a same place. So what do they do? Normally they complete a shared assignment, or they complete a task. They contact each other over internet. Okay, like different online tools, online platforms are there, video conferencing in there, different tools are there. You're familiar with that. So with the help of that, what do? They collaborate each other. They share their ideas. They group together using this medium, using this online medium, and that is also collaborative learning. Example of collaborative learning. Okay. Now move on. What happens in collaborative learning actually? What happens in collaborative learning? So what is the processes that is going on in a collaborative learning? Students work together in small groups on a structured activity. So from this we can understand the difference between collaborative learning and traditional classroom. See what happens in collaborative learning. Definitely collaborative classroom definitely indicates that what happens, what is not happening in traditional classroom. So this is actually the difference. Students work together in small groups on a structured activity. See, I told you they work in small groups as a team, small group. But activity is being structured. A structured activity, they work on a structured activity because they in advance, they are given the goals. I told you the goals are given. There is a purpose without any, they are doing something without any purpose. No. So they are doing something with a definite goal is there, and they do it, and the purpose is already explained. The students, you are going to learn this thing, or you are going to do this thing for a definite purpose. This is our end, this should be your end project, and this is the result. This is the expected result maybe. See, the from situation to situation or student to student, the result may be different, but this is our aim, to learn something new or to have something, explore some idea on this particular thing, like that. So there is a, they work together on a structured activity and then accountable for their work individually. And I told you earlier, each student is responsible for the group's learning. Each student is responsible. See, in traditional classroom, the student is, a particular individual is responsible for his own learning or her own learning. If he learns, okay, it is good for him. If he doesn't learn, okay, that also affects him badly, or whatever it may be, positively or negatively. But here, if because it is a teamwork, it is a teamwork. So if a student does properly, it affects the team result, right? And if the student is not doing something properly, again it affects the team. The result that the objective or the goal that is going to be obtained by the team. So that is why they are accountable for their work individually and in their group, and they work face to face and work as a team. Again, some points may be overlapping, so forgive me. So they work face to face and work as a team. So that is very important. This is one of the principles of collaborative learning. Face to face, they work face to face. So in traditional classroom, they will not be getting a chance to have this, face to face contact, face to face interaction. They are doing certain work of their own, completing it and go to home. So this is the practice. This may be the practice. This was the practice. But in collaborative learning, they work face to face and work as a team. And they share their strengths. So what is my strength? And they develop their weaker skills. So that's very important. See, I will give you an example. If a particular student is having a rich, rich source of ideas in his mind, that is a strength. But his weakness is he is not able to, he is very hesitant. He is very hesitated to open up his mouth in front of others, even to a small group, or even to a single friend. So that is his weakness. That may be his weakness. And here in collaborative learning, what happens? They can share their strength. They can share that, that quality. Okay, you can share your ideas with wonderful ideas with your friends. And by sharing your ideas with your friend or friends in small groups, what happens? Normally, you may weaken your that kind of, you may develop your that particular skill, or you can improve your that particular skill. That weakness, that is that hesitation, you can improve it. Okay, improve in the sense that you can reduce that kind of complex or something like that. And that is it is said that share strength and weaker the skills. You can develop the weaker skills. And then there is develops interpersonal skills. Definitely a teacher or student should have this interpersonal skills. What is interpersonal skill? Interaction among other people, interpersonal, how to interact. Then learn to deal with conflicts. And this is also a very important. Learn to deal with conflicts, because you be a problem solver. You be a finder of solution every time. For that, you have to deal with conflicts. When a conflict situation arises, how to deal with a particular thing is very important. rather than the result. How to deal with that, how to tackle a problem. As a teacher in a classroom, when there a problem arises, abruptly, suddenly, what happens? So what is the decision taken by the teacher? It is very, it is very important. A quick decision. Certain different, as teachers, different, unanticipated things may be happening in our classroom. On the spot, this you have to take on the spot decisions. So this is how to learn with conflicts. Collaborative learning helps the students how to learn with and how to deal with conflicts. Now, how to create collaborative environment. Now, we are moving on to a normal classroom. We are making the students sit in a normal classroom, definitely. And how this normal classroom be changed into collaborative classroom, that is very important. How to create a collaborative environment, that is very important, because you are getting a normal classroom, right? There is no such, class termed as collaborative classroom or a cooperative classroom like that. No, the normal classroom, you are going to change it. You are going to change the situation, change the environment in the classroom where the students are to be in a particular environment or particular place. Where they are to act properly. So how to create this collaborative classroom environment is very important. And 3 things are there for creating a collaborative environment. First one is, students should feel safe and secure and also challenged. So that is the first thing. And the second thing, it should be a small group so that everyone can contribute. Third thing, task must be clearly explained. So this is what is needed. First is, students should feel safe and secure and also challenged. First of all, the students should feel that we are very safe, we are very secure, we are free to express our ideas, we are protected. See, that kind of confidence you generate in your students. And at the same time, the task or the situation given to them should be challenging. If it is challenging, a kind of motivation will be there to, overcome it. So that is the human tendency. So that is why they should feel secure, they should feel very calm and secure and safe in the classroom. At the same time, they should feel that we are in the midst of a challenging situation. We are the problem solvers, we are to find the solution, we are to critically think, right? So these are the thing that should, a kind of feeling that we should create among our students. And then the second thing is the group. I told you small group is needed, small group, because in small group, what happens, if it is a larger group, all the students may not be getting a chance to contribute or have their versions. But here, if it is a small group, everyone will be a contributor. Everyone can contribute. Everyone can be a contributor in the group. That is the peculiarity. So it should be a small group so that everyone can contribute. Everyone is each student's contribution should be valued. We should not neglect the contribution of any student. Each one's contribution is very much important. The student should feel that I am a contributor, my contribution is very much valued. So that kind of feeling or motivation or self-confidence should be developed among your student. For that, a small group is needed. With a larger group, we may not be possible to do all these things. Then the third thing is, task must be clearly explained. I told you at the outset, the objective. What you are going to, for what purpose you are going to complete this task. What is your purpose? What is the ultimate goal? What is your objective? So there is a predetermined goal or objective, and what are the processes to be, processes you are going to undergo. What are the steps you are going to undergo? What are the roles? See, if it is a small group of 4 or 5 students, what is the role of the first student? What is the role of the second student? Each one is got a role. So the first student's role, second student, third student, fourth or fifth. So task must be clearly its purpose, its objective, and why the students are to complete this task. What is the end result? And what is the role of each and everyone in the group, and what should be your motto, how you should proceed. See, everything should be clearly explained. So these are the 3 things, the 3 tips or 3 requirements for creating a collaborative environment in your classroom. Okay. Now, what are the benefits of, I told you small group is very important. And let us consider what are the benefits of the small groups. Once again, the points may be overlapping. See, learners actively participate. That is very, in a larger crowded classroom, the learners may not be much active. They may be active in doing something else, but the in that particular activity in which the teacher is going to assign them. So learners actively participate in a smaller group because they feel that we are in a small group. At the same time, we are to do certain things. We are to complete a particular thing. So we are to, we should be very active. That kind of feeling may generate. Then teachers are learners. Learners are teachers sometimes. So this is very interesting. There's a mutual, give and take process. Teaching learning process itself is a give and take process, right? So here, teachers, sometimes they become learners. They learn something. A lot of things are there from, for teachers to learn from students. So never underestimate your students, because the students are sometimes they are greater teachers. So we can learn so many things even from a small kid. So teachers are learners sometimes, and learners teach. Okay, see, a smarter student may teach a slower one. See, students may teach one. If one student helps or teaches another student, the particular student becomes a teacher. So that is a give and take process, and that may create a some sort of motivation or self-confidence among the students. So teachers are learners, and learners teach themselves. Then there is a mutual so this will create a mutual respect. You have to respect, and that is the importance of this teamwork also. If you are in a team, if you are doing a team, if you are doing a work in your team, and if you work in a team, what happens is automatically you generate a kind of mutual respect, because I told you, everyone can be a contributor. Each and everyone's contribution is beneficial to the team. The ultimate result, beneficial to the ultimate result. So what happens? You have to respect each and everyone, mutual respect. One student should respect other students. So mutual respect is very much important. And all contributors are valued. Again, the contribution of each and everyone is important. Project and questions challenge students. See, this is actually a collaborative setup. If you give a project is actually challenging, because you have to find out something. You have to find out the causes and causes of something. If it is a problem, you have to find a solution. See, projects are challenging, and questions also. Certain questions asked by the teacher, prompting questions are very challenging to the students. So these are very challenging. Then we continue with the benefits of collaborative learning. Once again, it develops general benefits of collaborative learning. It develops higher level thinking. So thinking is very much important in collaborative learning. Here, higher level thinking is possible for the students, because they have to think and share, or they have to think and contribute. That is the significance. And then it promotes student-teacher interaction and familiarity. Definitely there is an interaction with student interaction, teacher-student interaction. Definitely it creates student, because the teacher is a facilitator there. The role of the teacher is a facilitator, a promoter, a mentor. So what happens? The students may be asking certain questions to the teacher, queries to the teacher, doubts to the teacher, some clarifications. So in doing all these things, or in satisfying all these things, what happens? There is a student-teacher interaction possibly, and which may not be present, which may be absent in a traditional classroom. Then increases students' retention also. See, students' retention is also being increased in the collaborative learning classroom. Then builds self-esteem in students, higher motivation. So students are self-motivated, highly motivated, because they feel that I am something. They feel that I am something. I have to do something. I have to help my friend. I have to help my friends in completing this task, having a good result. Okay, I am very much important. So it creates kind of self-esteem. They respect themselves. They respect each other. They respect themselves. So that's a process that's going on in collaborative learning. Enhances student satisfaction with the learning experience. So they are very much satisfied with the learning process, because why there is a student satisfaction? Because they feel that they are doing something. That is why they are being satisfied. So student satisfaction is there with the learning experiences given by the teacher. So they are doing something, we are accountable, we are the sole responsible persons in the classroom, they feel like that. So it may create some sort of self-esteem, it may create some sort of motivation, and it may create satisfaction among the students. Now it continues, promotes positive attitude towards the subject matter. Definitely if you are positive attitude, uh, making the students learn something new is the first step is creating some attitude among students. As teachers, all of you know that. So create something attitude, and if it is a positive attitude, and if it is a negative attitude, nothing will be going to happen. And if it should be a positive attitude. So here the students are learning some maybe a difficult subject, or a subject of not their interest, a subject which is not of their interest, in their interest. But if we create a positive attitude among students, okay, that is well and good. And collaborative learning helps you create a positive attitude among students. Then develops oral communication. Definitely oral communication skill is a oral skill, or speaking skill is very much, because here much interaction is needed, much interaction. So the students are to see, this is for English teachers, for language teachers, this is very much important. You make the students interact with each other while they are doing all these things, while they are completing all these tasks. You make the students, this is a technique, you make the students speak in the native language, I mean in the spoken English language. So it may develop the oral communication skill. If you are doing in their mother tongue, okay, that is well and good, but here also you can use this technique, right? Develops oral communication skills. Oral communication skill means how to interact, how to orally deliver something. So oral delivery is very much important, and it collaborative learning develop, because this lot of chances are there to have this communication. That is why oral communication develops. Then social interaction, I told you, interact with each other, because that particular class itself is a community, it's a small community, it's a small society. So how to deal with people of different tastes, because all the students, it is a heterogeneous classroom, we know that our classroom is heterogeneous, it's not a homogeneous one. So in that heterogeneous setup, how to interact with students properly, how to interact with the students clearly, that is very much important. That particular skill is being developed. Then positive race relations, it promotes positive race relations. So if the students interact with each other and they love each other, they share each other, they help each other, irrespective of their of others caste or creed or race or something like that. So that kind of positive good quality is being developed among students, and it creates an environment of active, involved, exploratory learning. Definitely active learning is there, involved learning, all the students are getting involved in the process. That's very much important. No one is sitting passively, no one is sitting idly in the classroom. Because every student has got a role, every student got a role, so they are to do something. And exploratory also, positive interdependence is another thing. Positive interdependence, the students become interdependent, the student becomes independent and interdependent. That is kind of positive thing, positive interdependence. And then here comes certain tips and strategies for teachers. I mean, the teacher, the what is the we can combine this with, or you can connect the role of a teacher. What is the role of a teacher in a collaborative classroom, or how the teacher react or behave, or in a collaborative classroom is very important. And certain tips are there, how to be a monitor, how to be a this facilitator or mentor, or observer, something like scaffolder, something like that. Teacher's role is varied. So here the tips, certain tips are there for the teachers. Established group goals. I told you at the outset itself, it is all important that you have to fix a goal for the task. Then form mid-sized groups, small groups. Establish flexible group norms. The group norms should not be very rigid. You never do this, never do that, you do this. No, no, it should be flexible. Okay, because the students are to, I told you, they feel secure and free and very much uh, secure and safe in the classroom. So that is why it should be very flexible. Build trust and encourage open communication. So oral communication is important. Build trust. If the students trust each other, and if the student trust the teacher, what happens? Their communication will be very open. See, that is the thing, and that is why it is lacking in our. See, the most of the cases, sometimes the students does not trust the teacher, does not trust the friends, because they will be humiliated or something. They feel that I'll be humiliated or some, in front of my teacher or in front of my friends, and that's the feeling. And sometimes the students feel, they feel they feel kind of fear towards the teacher. So these are some possibilities where the students keep mum in the classroom. They shut their mouth in the classroom. But here, once the students feel trust among their friends, with the friends and with the teacher, what happens? Open communication is possible, and encourage open communication. No need to be, that should not be a barrier. Create group roles for larger task. Yes, a group is, if it is a classroom, it's a big classroom, okay, somewhat larger group is needed, then roles for the group should be assigned, not for the individual, for the groups. Consider learning process as part of assessment. Yes, the learning process itself is a part of assessment. Make them sure that. Then use different strategies. Different strategies should be, it is up to the teacher to decide which strategy is being, going to work in the classroom at this situation. That is very important. Ask this. So here also the teacher should be very creative. See, for a collaborative, a teacher in a collaborative classroom must be very creative and very talented, very innovative. Then ask the students to be less anxious. No need of anxiety. No need to be, no need to worry. No need to worry. Every time you just give that kind of, that kind of a word to the student. No need to worry. You can open up your mouth. You can open up your mouth. No need. Establish group interaction earlier. Use real world problems. See, the problems that they are to confront is, it should not be something utopian or something like that. Day-to-day affairs. Use real world problems. Then enhance problem solving and critical thinking ability. This is very much important. These are the some of the skills that to be developed during this collaborative learning. Problem solving and critical thinking. I told you, problem solving and critical thinking. Critically how to. Thinking is very important, thinking. Be alert on the diversity of groups. Yes, you should learn that your group is a heterogeneous one. Use technology to make learning easy. I told you, sharing on internet. See, using how to. Information technology. How to implement this information technology properly. That is very important. It makes learning very easier. So, we can conclude principles of, from our discussion. So far, we had discussed so many things regarding collaborative learning. So, what are the principles of collaborative learning? Once again, principles of collaborative learning. Once again, positive interdependence. This is one of the main principles. Positive interdependence is very important. Face-to-face interaction is very important, because it leads to open communication, it leads to motivation, it leads to self-esteem, it leads to mutual respect. See, what else? So many things are there. Face-to-face interaction. Then individual and group accountability. Individual and group accountability. I told you, the individual's deeds or action is responsible or accountable for the group success or failure. So, individual is responsible for his own learning and the group learning. Okay, that is individual and group accountability. You just make make the student understand that you are responsible for doing all these things, right? So then they will be very alert and cautious. Interpersonal skills, definitely how to interact with persons, that is very needed as a student, as a person, as a citizen. Interpersonal skill is very important. So let them learn this interpersonal skill from the classroom itself, because they are going to live in a society, in a larger society, where they are to interact with so many people, and they are to deal with so many conflict problems. So that is interpersonal skill. Then group processing. So how to process groups is very important. That is a technique of a teacher. That is a creativity of a teacher. How to process groups. So then lastly, we may see what is this collaborative learning. I told you in our discussion it is something different from traditional learning. I have mentioned that difference sometimes while discussing all these topics. But once again, what is this collaborative versus traditional learning? What is this? It is, first thing is think, pair, share in collaborative learning, not in traditional classroom. TPS. TPS, you might have heard this technique. It is a particular technique, think, pair, share technique. Think, pair, share. The word itself is suggestive. Thinking, critical thinking, high level thinking is there. Then pair. Pairing is, what is pairing? Pair something. You just, give each other. You have to, combine with someone else's ideas or something like that. Then share to the whole group. Think, pair, share. And this is what is lacking in a traditional classroom. Then I swim, you sink, you swim, I sink is not in collaborative learning. See, this is actually what is happening in traditional learning. Maybe I swim, you sink, or you swim, I sink, because everyone is concentrated on her own success or her own activity in traditional learning, where in collaborative learning this is not the process. Each one helps each, the student helps each other, and that is happening. Smart ones helps slow ones in collaborative learning. That is the explanation. Smart ones helps slow ones in collaborative learning. So slower learners are helped by the smarter ones. So they share it. They share their knowledge and all that. So this is all about collaborative learning. This is the difference between collaborative learning and the traditional classroom. So be a teacher in a collaborative, learning classroom. Be a collaborative teacher also in that sense. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you.